Meet Keith, loving dad, board game champ, bus driving pro.
I drive 65,000 miles in my bus each year. If people knew what I know, lives could be saved. Like how there are some things I simply can't see. On my route the other day, a car tried to sneak past me and ends up right in my blind spot. I turned slowly, so accident avoided. But no car should be in the blind spot for a 40,000-pound bus. It's our roads. It's our safety.
Visit www.sharetheroadsafely.gov.
It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag NFL.
Been in the playoffs a lot of times in the last, however many years I've been here now, and just continuing to find ways to learn from it. And I think that's it's a hard pill to swallow sometimes because we haven't gotten it done. But you knock enough at the door, it's going to open at some point, and that's just what we have to keep doing is keep knocking on that door and giving ourselves chances to be in that situation again.
That's Bills quarterback Josh Allen going full Phil Mickelson right there, PK. Keep knocking on that door. It's got to break your way. That seems more likely in golf where you get 4 chances a year as opposed to football where you get 1. But nonetheless, the logic's there.
Okay.
You claim a lot of teams, from Corner Canyon to your Jersey roots and New York teams. How about Jackson Dart, Giants quarterback, former Corner Canyon guy, causing a dust-up in training camp? Scored a touchdown, running for a TV, tossed the football at the helmet of one of his teammates. John Harbaugh didn't like it, backed him up 15 yards for a PAT, said it would have been taunting.
I do not claim the Giants.
They're on their own, huh? Right there in the Meadowlands in your state.
I have no NFL team. I've got 2 NFL teams. I mean, the Jets train about 5 minutes where I grew up. But no, I have no NFL team. But, I think that Harbaugh is trying to make sure that Jackson Dart is the epitome of a leader. Well, Riley and I had a big discussion on whether Jackson Dart will go out of bounds or go down. And, they're so competitive and blah, blah, blah. But if you want to be a leader, you have to be a smart competitor, and putting yourself at risk is not smart. I don't care how tough you are. There's a line where tough then becomes stupid. It sounds good to be tough. Oh, he'll run through a wall, man. I mean, it cut off his digits. He'll keep playing. And that's all well and good. But if it's at the expense of you being available to play, that's stupidity. And I think Jackson Dart understands that and knows that. And he is emerging leader anyway. I don't think he's there yet, but has the opportunity to be there. And I think that he will play in the appropriate manner, and he will play smart. You don't have to keep proving your toughness over and over at the expense of injury.
That is a true story. I just can't 100% buy in that he's going to be avoiding those big hits. He seems to relish them. He's taken a lot of them. He's a young guy. He's a year older, and he'll have a new coach in his ear, a guy who's coached a running quarterback. Maybe all of that will help. But until I see it, it's a little hard to believe it's going to happen. The Arizona Cardinals are going to start Carson Beck at quarterback in the Hall of Fame game tomorrow versus Carolina. Jacoby Brissett is currently penciled in as the starter, expecting to see him week 1 of the regular season. But it doesn't feel like it's completely locked up. If somebody was on fire, it could change pretty quickly there, right? With Kyler Murray out in Minnesota now, anything could happen, even though it looks like Brissett right now.
Well, I don't know about anything. I would say that those two are one or the other. So I think Carson Beck, his time will come. You know what you're going to get from Brissett at this point.
Injury news, guys healing up for injury, dominating the NFL news as the camps are picking up speed. Atlanta Falcons fear the second-year defensive end, Jalen Walker, tore his ACL. He was a first-round pick a year ago, expected to be a premier pass rush threat. He had 5.5 sacks as a rookie. They were looking for him to up that number, and now fear of the torn ACL. The year could be lost before it gets going here. Packers defensive end Micah Parsons, coming off an ACL tear last year, said he believes it's realistic he could return to play and face the Cowboys, his old team, Week 6. The TV networks would appreciate it if he would do that and they could hype that up. Not that Packers-Cowboys would need a lot of hype. You think that would probably be a marquee game. The Bears make All-Pro offensive tackle Darnell Wright the highest-paid right tackle in the NFL. 4 years, $116 million. $93 guaranteed for the 24-year-old. Hit it big, and he did. Philadelphia Eagles defensive end A.J. Epenesa said that he's excited to be out of a weird situation with the Cleveland Browns. I don't want to go back and talk on that. I'll just leave that in the past and be happy I'm not a Brown and that I am an Eagle. Epenesa signed with Philly as a free agent in the offseason after initially agreeing to sign with Cleveland, but then opting to not sign him after undergoing a physical. Never mind, we don't want to do it. And he's on to Philly. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
BYU number 15, Utah number 21 in the USA Today coaches preseason poll. We'll get to this coming up. They get a fair enough shake, PK? Good enough? I mean, given that Indiana was down there in the last 10 teams that were ranked, they weren't in the top 15. I think they're down around 19 or 20 in the media poll and coaches poll a year ago. Good enough? You're on the radar? People will be checking you out? Just win, baby?
Everything you want is ahead of you, right in front of you. Each week, take them one at a time, though.
Pac-12 and Mountain West conferences have finalized their settlement over poaching and exit fees. More details about the money, money, how much money, what exchanged hands, not disclosed by either conference yesterday. I assume that Freedom of Information Act will catch up with that info and it'll be out shortly. Indiana Hoosiers got one of their defensive stars from last year's national championship team back as defensive lineman Stephen Daly will return for a fifth year after the legal injunction ruling in Colorado last year opened for the door for the class of 2022 athletes like Daly to return for a fifth year. He had 19.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks, impact guy there defensively, and now as a 2022 guy, he gets another year of eligibility. DJ and PK.
Hashtag Major League Baseball.
Dansby drives one in the air. Deep left center. Get out the tape measure. Long gone. Ball game tied 1-1. Dansby Swanson with a long home run to left center.
Swinging a ground ball right side. Chaparro dives, can't get it. It's a base hit down the line. Turner is home to score. Harper's headed to third. Arise is headed to second. And Luis Arise make a debut. He's 2 for 2 with 2 runs batted in. And it's 2-0 Phillies.
Breaking ball swung on and a high fly ball. Deep left field. Going back, gone! A home run for George Lombard Jr. And the parents are going nuts, and so's everybody in the ballpark. 2-0 Yankees.
Highlights around Major League Baseball. You heard Luis Arise making an immediate impact in Philadelphia. 2 for 4, drives in 2 runs, scores a third, and Philly shuts out Washington 5-0. Payday for that trade from the Giants right out of the gate, PK.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's for the Giants, though. I think it's for the Phillies.
It's the Phillies trade with the Giants, yes. Tariq Skubal, no immediate payday there. Assume that it'll pay off down the line, but he makes his debut after getting dealt to the Dodgers, and the Cubs beat him 5-1. He gave up 2 runs in 6 innings, so it's a good start right there, but they give us more out of the bullpen. They really don't hit much, and the Dodgers lose their 5th straight game. Three years, 6 teams sitting in playoff spots right now. Dodgers, Phillies, Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks did lose the Padres 9-4, but they're still sitting in the 3rd wild card spot, and the Phillies in the 2nd one. So, Yankees top prospect George Lombard Jr. hit a home run in his debut for the club, and had his brother go yard on the same night. His brother Jacob is making his debut in single A ball in Jupiter, Florida. So, a good night for the family.
Yeah, that's cool. And the dad was a coach, what's it, with Cleveland or something, and he took the night off to be there.
Yankees needed that. Got a solo homer from him. They only got 5 hits in the game, but they beat the Cardinals 2-0. 4 Yankee pitchers combining for the shutout game.
Lombard Sr. is with the Tigers as a bench coach.
Bees lose their series opener to Oklahoma City. They've dropped 8 in a row now. They get beat 10-6. Same two teams tonight, 6:35. Tony Parks is on the air at 6:20 here on The Zone. DJ and PK.
Hashtag RSL.
Real Salt Lake ties the game up on a goal in the 16th minute, 1-1. It looked like it'd be a wide-open, high-scoring affair when Pablo Ruiz scored, and yet there were no more goals. It went to penalties, and they got beat 6-5 by Tigres, so they take just 1 point. Still possible they could advance in the League's Cup, but last year you needed 7 points to win on a tiebreaker. A couple of teams advanced, and another team on 7 didn't advance. So with that as the guide, it seems like the odds of them advancing pretty difficult right now. Gozo did not play in the game. He was taken out of the starting lineup. He wasn't in the 20. Precautionary because he's expected to be moved to Crystal Palace in England. Transfer fee of about $15 million. You can't even go out and wreck a knee or an ankle or something and ruin the deal. So we'll see if that gets finalized here in the next day or two. The 19-year-old from Eagle Mountain has said he wants to go to Europe. Here's a big opportunity. The team will look very different without him. We'll see how they piece everything together. He's been a big part of the attack, and it has looked different these last 2 games without him, to be sure. RSL will be back in action Saturday in Leagues Cup. All right, that's what's trending. It's brought to you by Shamrock Plumbing. There's no job too big or too small. Get the personal touch with Shamrock Plumbing. So Win Tickets Wednesday. We got tickets to see the Black Crows at Utah First Credit Union Amphitheater August 13th. We'll give those tickets away coming up in the 8 o'clock hour. In the 9 o'clock hour, Jay Drew will join us, BYU football beat writer for the Deseret News. It is opening day for the Cougars. Their first day of practice. We'll be headed down there after the show. We'll get to that coming up. Jay Drew at 9 o'clock. DJ and PK, it's 97.5 at KSL Sports Zone.
They've been doing it for a while.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
I think the Jazz want to make the playoffs this year, and they really have no motivation for not making the playoffs this year because their draft pick goes to the Memphis Grizzlies in the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade. How motivated are the Jazz actually going to feel to maximize the win total of this roster using all the assets available to them to get there? My guess is it's actually not as high as fans would think because they don't have to do anything exactly right.
The truth is they are dedicated to it. But that doesn't mean they have to do anything about it right now.
Sure.
But no, not one person in that building, if you went up to them and said, hey, is the Bosnian Beak your answer at center? Not one of them is going to say yes.
Right. Or Jackson Hayes.
Or any of that. No, they're not.
Yeah.
So, yes, they do need to address the problem, for sure. Do they need to address it right now?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. No, why would they?
Catch Jake and Ben, afternoons from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
KSL Sports Zone and Beehive Meals are honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer you know for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday afternoon to Jake and Ben for the winner. It's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Question of the morning up on our Facebook page. BYU football starts practice today. What do you want or expect to hear? Matthew with a classic. The boys were flying around. And he also says, I want to hear him say, I have to watch the film. Would you like to estimate how many times you've heard those two quotes?
Flying around to the ball, man. That's something. I don't know that they'll need to be watching film to get an assessment of what they're looking for today. They're just looking for enthusiasm and emotion, happy to be there, excited. The season is upon you. You've done all that work with the lights off, so to speak, in January and February, the dark days and the conditioning and all. Now you have an opportunity, and it's, they go through the acclimation period. I think it's 3 or 4 days before they can be in full pads and all that stuff. So the first day is just a gratitude that you have an opportunity to play ball, and most likely at the team for the school of your choice. Most of these guys could have had other opportunities, and they chose here. So I think he's just looking for, speaking of Kalani being that he's looking for the spirit of it and the enthusiasm of it. As they progress, the film becomes more important. But I don't know that in practice here in August, in the summer training camp, that the film will be that important because of the fact that there's so many returners. I think Jay has a story reading this morning, and I'm talking to him in a couple hours, the third most returning starters in production, whatever it might be. So a lot of the stuff is set. So the film will certainly become important as the season progresses, but I think it's about execution and staying injury-free during the next 3 weeks and really 4 or 5 weeks, because they have Utah Tech, and they should be expected to beat them and beat them handily, obviously. And then we get into the second week, and at that point,
conference opener, Arizona, here we go.
Really takes shape. So it's a little bit of a different camp for BYU in that a lot of things are settled and determined. There's always competition, and there'll always be surprises. There'll always be some players that, either through injury or what have you, get an opportunity and take off. And this happens across the country, I believe. You know, who those players will be, we're not really sure. Because you never really know, because they get there, and a lot of these kids have the star ranking and have credentials. But let's just take Satawala for an instance. Did we know that he was not just going to be a player, he's going to be a big-time player, and he's going to be a difference maker? You're not really sure on that. I can recall the season before last, Isaiah Glasker. Who is this kid sitting in the press box in Dallas for SMU game? Who is this kid? And what was the story? And I talked to Kelly Papinga. Oh, he had a hamstring or some form of injury the prior year where he couldn't really show because he's got size, he's got speed, agility, aggressiveness, blah, blah, blah. And he has this breakout game, at least to me, right there. I think that was the second game of the season, if I remember. And then, wow, he's been really good these last 2 years. Probably could have gone to the NFL and came back. So you have guys that you expect that are going to get opportunities. Well, what level are they going to settle in at? And those are two guys that I just named from the defensive perspective that settled in at star-like levels. And who's that going to be? That's what's going to be fun to watch as this season progresses for these guys, because every team has them.
You never really know. You could watch Satawala in high school, and it didn't take a genius to think he's got to be getting recruited by everybody.
Sure, yeah.
But you're right. When he steps in, it's like, is there going to be an acclimation period, an adjustment? Is he ready right away? And even in a game, I think maybe it was at Kansas, made a mistake, gave up a score, but then turned around and made a big play and got a turnover and got a pick. And so, yeah, he really did cannonball into the deep end of the pool. Yeah. Announce his presence immediately.
Iowa State with a pick six.
It was Iowa State. That's where it was. Yeah, he got beat early, and then he had the pick six later in the game.
Yeah, right, on the road against a decent team. Those are huge. And we're expecting big things from him, provided, of course, he has his health. I know he's had a little bit of an injury, but they're talking about he should be ready.
Oh, we've got comments on that. Tim, I want an update on Satawala's injury. Hopefully he's fully recovered. From major injuries to quote-unquote minor. It's a minor surgery that happens to somebody else. But a quote-unquote minor surgery where guys get stuff, I love it when they say, cleaned up.
No, that's what they're telling us.
There'll be all the questions about who's healthy today. Those are givens on the first day, and we'll find out who's ready to go and who's still being held out for a week or two, and who they're hoping to get back for the season opener. All that stuff plays out here. But Satawala's health, number one concern for Tim. Chris says, my only hope is aren't any surprises for who is not on the roster. That's the first thing I want to know.
Okay.
Somebody not eligible. Somebody being held out. Rich says, I expect to hear how great they are, and I expect to hear how they're going to be national champs. Okay. Now you're laying it on thick, Rich.
I think there's a good chance they can do it.
Be great or be national champs?
Yes. Because if you have the second, then you'll obviously have the first.
That's true. It's easy to see them being great, getting a conference title game, win a conference title game, get in the playoffs, win a playoff game. But after winning a playoff game, isn't everything else gravy?
I don't know about that. There's no way that I can say it's easy to see them winning the conference title. No, I don't. I can't say any team.
It's not easy to win the conference title, but it's
plausible,
easy.
but it's not easy.
It's easy to see the expectations set there. I don't think anybody's setting expectations at national semifinals, title game, or champs. Some people may be setting their expectations at all those other things I listed. And you're right, it won't be easy to win those things. It'll be hard. It wasn't easy to win the Utah game and get to the conference title a year ago, but they did it and pulled it off and they got there. It wasn't easy. But I think expectations can be set for any of those 4 accomplishments.
Well,
and then after that.
Okay, but why would I say after that? If they are in that situation, why would I just concede defeat? There's no way I would concede defeat like you are.
I don't think they're setting expectations. You're right, they'll be recalibrated, and in that moment they will expect to win the next game, whatever that is. They'll want to win it, hope to win it, expect to win it. The expectations will be recalibrated. But right now, I expect when we go down there, we're going to hear him talk about getting to the conference title game, winning a conference championship, and qualifying for the playoffs. I think that's what, back to the original question, what do you want, expect to hear? That's what I expect to hear.
Oh, there's no way they're going to be talking about the conference title game on the first day of practice. That just violates every unwritten code. You could barely get him. We were down there the other day and interviewing and talking to guys. Barely get him to talk about Arizona because it's Utah Tech first, as we had with your guy Schmidt yesterday. Asking him the soccer about what do you do, because you had these other games and you got this short turnaround. You can't be talking about this other team because you got the other game. It was always a joke. Every year we would do the WAC conference call for basketball. And in those days, every game was Thursday, Saturday. Well, you got better chance of pulling teeth without any Novocaine than
getting a coach to talk about the Saturday game.
Yeah.
I got to write something on Friday.
Right.
Can you give me a quote for Saturday?
They would never, ever do it. You can't. You're tempting the fates. So if I hear Kalani talk about, I'm really looking forward to see who we play in the playoff, I'll drop dead.
You don't think you'll hear a player, the goal is to win the conference title?
Well, that's always the goal. That doesn't change for any team. All 16 teams, the goal is to win the conference title. So that you can get away with that because that is every team's goal every year.
And that's why it's on my list of things I expect to hear about. And that's why they can talk about the playoff, because if you get one, obviously, then you're in.
They're not going to be talking about even that. But if they should get there and win a game, then I'm not going to automatically eliminate them from the second round, advancing, whatever they call it. That means you're really good.
Any other cliches that you used to on the opening day of practice? You've done a lot of opening days of practice.
Yeah, man. The strength coach really came through over the winter. These guys are in great shape, man. They're looking physically good. They can run. They can throw the ball over the mountain and all that stuff. Yeah, man. You can tell they really put the time in the weight room over the winter and the conditioning and whoever the coaches are. They just did a phenomenal job.
We did get that Monday up at the U. We did. That's a time-worn winner right there.
Yes.
The next time you hear strength and conditioning staff, they didn't really get after it.
Are they doing eating pizza every day?
Yeah, I know. It's like we get some guys who are a little doughy around the middle.
Yeah, that's what they're going to tell you, that they've had a great opportunity to get themselves. We're bigger, faster, stronger. And for me, every time when I played high school ball and I reported for camp, I was smaller, weaker, and slower. That was my problem. I got worse.
Skinny Kinahan, he's here again.
I had nobody else, so I made the team.
We need bodies. Need guys to practice against.
Right. Process of elimination. Okay, you made it. You don't suck as bad as the other guy.
I expect we're going to hear about the wide receiver group. Who's it going to be? And the answer will be we have a bunch of good guys, and we want someone to expect, but we're going to be spreading the ball around, and there's several guys who contribute. And I expect we'll hear a lot about that.
Well, that was always Kyle's thing with rushing and receiving. If you didn't have a bona fide proven product, well, if I get 700 or 800 yards from 3 guys, yeah, but you never do.
Remember that time that quarterback threw for 3,500 yards?
It just doesn't normally work that way. And sometimes it does. You know, more so at the service academies when they're running it 70 times a game. and you got to, the quarterback is going to have to be good, and then there's going to be a running back or two because they get so many opportunities, and that's their version of the big play.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're looking to take, unless it's a dive, they're looking to take everything as far as they can go. And their big plays come through that. So the rest of them, I like what Robert and I said yesterday. I've always enjoyed listening to him. I know some other folks don't like him, but I've always liked him, is that he's talking about in today's...
Magic happens.
Magic happens.
Wrong one.
Yeah.
No, that was good, Jake, to have the history.
You said it, and then,
yes, exactly.
No,
the history of magic happens through the ages. That was good.
Right.
You did not hit the wrong one.
Magic.
You instinctively understood context. That's what happened there.
I've always thought you have to listen to what he says. And so they had their media day in Logan yesterday, and I went through to get myself up to speed of what's going on up there and what the folks have to say, particularly him because he's new. Took a year off, I think, if not 2.
That hit him hard. He felt that time off. Yeah. He's happy to be back at it.
He's 67, 68, but good for him if he wants to do it.
He was living out in the Bay Area because his son is coaching out there, and when he got the job at Utah State, his son's like, I lost my babysitter.
Well, he has that relationship with Bronco. Has been there, came back and followed him, and then followed him again, obviously. And he's talking about today's game. The cliche is that they tell you you've got to use the run to set up the pass. Mm-hmm. And he said, no, that's done. No. You've got to spread them out. You have to, there's nothing you do to set up something else. This is not a pitcher, I'll nibble here, and then I'll come back over there, and that type, use all sides of the plate and all that to set up a hitter. He's talking about you have to be diversified and be really good at all aspects and spread them out so then you can use all your weapons, and one doesn't set up the other in the way the game is played today. So that's something that, I think it's very important, and I liked what he was talking about, and as it relates to BYU with their receivers, they're going to have guys. If they do not have guys that come through in the manner that they did last year, then I don't care how much experience Bachmeier has, how much experience the offensive line has. You've got to be able to do it, and they've got to be able to get the ball down the field. Yeah, it looks like on paper they should be fine running the ball. But at the same time, L.J. Martin has the big season because you got Kingston and Roberts over here having really good seasons. But we always hear about L.J., and L.J. should get all the credit for what he did, but that plays right into what Anai's talking about. You had big-time receivers making big-time plays, and their statistics at the end of the season reflected it, and so did LJ's. Well, if they don't have that, that may hamper the running game big time.
I think the only thing I disagree with is the may. I think it will. I think that theory about spread them out, make them defend every yard of the field from one sideline all the way to the other, and from the line of scrimmage 20, 30, 40, 50 yards downfield, you got to make them defend everywhere. Spread them out. And then you get your playmakers into space, and they can make big plays. Because one guy misses a tackle, and the second and third guy can't rally the ball that fast. They're too far away.
And who's it going to be? We know the names, but they're just right now. They're just names.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be?
Who's the
or will it be?
Who's the 60-catch, 800-yard guy?
Will they turn into what Utah had become the last several years, where we're just going to go to the tight ends and run the ball, and that's how we're going to do it?
Will get their occasional catch here or there, but whatever.
But
the tight end's
not
the guy
what you want.
No. It makes it hard under that scenario. It makes it hard to spread them out sideline to sideline and 50 yards downfield. Spread them out, make them. Who's the deep threat? You got to make them defend the whole field and get those guys away from the line of scrimmage. Now the linebackers are in space, and maybe guys can make bigger plays.
Yeah, so that's what I want to see.
Yeah, beat one guy, and you got space to run.
And right now, you're not going to see it in day one. It's going to be more of a talk, more of a thought process. What do they think? And they're going to put the positive spin on it, sure.
That's another quote we're going to hear. Well, it's hard to know. We don't even have the pads on.
Yeah, but the guys that they have had the pads on in the spring. So, and you'll also hear, well, the player run practices, they were really good. They got a lot done.
They won't call them player run practices. PRPs, guys. Come on.
I know, but we're
know your abbreviations.
We're ballers, but we got listeners, especially the ladies. We want to explain that to them. Hey, don't blame me, ladies. They have every coach has a thing where they explain football to the ladies during the camp. So don't blame me.
Get to your chalkboard, your whiteboard sessions.
And then they start the chalkboard, and then they go out on the field and teach them the game. So don't blame me, ladies. The coaches do it.
BRPs now. It'll be OTAs like the NFL one day.
Because I'm sure DB knows football.
Try next year.
There's a lot of DBs out there who know football.
No doubt.
She knows basketball. DB's the greatest.
Fact.
I'm a girl dad.
Yay!
Look
you
at
don't
me.
Really sound like a Debbie.
Well, I've been one for a long time.
Debbie knew football, and Debbie knows. If Debbie's still alive, and I pray to, the Almighty that she still is, she knows football and basketball. It was a comprehensive sports fan, and you mock her. And you question her. Rude, and unbecoming of the most popular sportscaster in this community.
Don't
blame it on somebody else.
It was quite a disaster.
Yeah, you want to blame it on the old producer because you thought, well, I seen the same thing. It was on my screen, and I didn't question her gender.
That technology was so flawed, we don't even use it anymore.
Again, now he blames, but I had the same technology, and I knew she was a woman.
Or you at least had the good sense not to ask.
I knew. I seen right through it.
I just have gender identification.
Is it XX or XY? That's a big thing these days, but I never know which one's which.
Got to pay attention to
science into that territory.
Science classes at Thunderbird High, man. You gotta stay dialed in there to biology 2 or whatever that class was.
No, I didn't. I just needed a C.
Got your C, got eligible to play third base, and called it good. And that's why you're confused all these years later.
Wait, I'm confused?
Yes, you're confused.
You sat in the front row because mom and dad required it, and you were a nerd, and you still screwed it up.
I can tell you where I didn't sit then, and even in a room today, I will go sit in the back of the room.
Oh, that's because you're so popular, and you don't want to just dominate and take all the oxygen in the room. You're so freaking humble.
Get in, get out.
And wang.
Get in, get out, have very little to say. You've actually complimented me on meetings. There's some people who've been asking questions and making comments. You sit there, don't talk, listen, and get that meeting over with. Let's go. And the back is the best place to be quiet, say nothing, and not be noticed.
Let's go out and talk to some of the managers here.
Not a meeting. That's one-on-one.
DJ, he never offers an opinion.
Nope. One came in searching for one yesterday. That was surprising. All right, anything else you want to hear today? Anything else you expect to hear today?
Yes, all practices throughout the rest of the season will be open. Come in anytime you want.
Things you are not going to hear today. Didn't hear them last year, won't hear them next year.
I used to have to go, this is the old days, man, when we used typewriters back in the 90s.
Look out.
Or in the 2000s. It would have been some 90s and then obviously into the 2000s because I didn't quit. I didn't stop being a beat writer until 2007. So that's not that long ago. But when they had the two-a-days in Provo and I was covering BYU, that it would be pointless to come home and drive back. And you had to go because you just were always afraid of missing something.
Mm-hmm.
Even if nothing happened, you had to be there. So those I used to hate. The first week was okay because it was fresh. And you can have access and you can do some stuff.
And then you're through all of your off-season questions and stories, and you're stuck because nothing has happened.
And you have to go there, and you'd have to be there for the entire practice. So I used to go and work out. I'd use their facilities and either run, lift, whatever. And then I'd go shower in the Smith Fieldhouse and then be ready for the afternoon one. And you felt like if you weren't there, you just knew something big was going to happen.
And occasionally it did. And I remember being there for one of those. Not that we had to be there as much as B writers had to be there, but we were there for one of those, and a guy broke his leg.
And
the
that's
season
usually
was
what it
over.
is. It's an injury.
Yeah.
There's really not, because there's not going to be anything in practice on one singular practice. He's our guy. We're going with him at any position. It's an accumulation. Yeah. And they do film everything. They've got film. You'll see them filming from multiple angles, and they do go and rehash and look over and study it up and down, inside out.
Well, and show it to kids and say, hey, here's what you did and here's what you need to do.
And they notice every little thing. The second you step on the practice field is recorded, and your effort and your production and all that stuff. So they know everything, that's for sure. But it's, from the media standpoint now, it's not even close to what it was, which is good and bad, I guess. And I get why they do it, though, because the media is such a huge umbrella now. And you don't know who's doing what and blah, blah, blah. And plus, if one does it, they all got to follow.
There's that, but there are specific stories along the way, and you've heard the one about Lavelle, and they were playing Washington in an opener, and someone came and gave him plays because they'd been in a Washington practice and diagrammed a bunch of stuff, and he was horrified and sent him, I think it was Neuheisel, and sent him and said, hey, sorry about this. You ought to know somebody's watching your practice, and they gave me this. I don't want to know it. Here it is back.
Yeah, I get it.
And now with phones, and we've been through Spygate with the Patriots and all that kind of stuff, so...
You're sort of backed up against the wall.
More fences, more windscreens, less access.
Yeah, so be it. And ultimately, I think it's the fan who loses a little bit in the short term. But come Saturdays, we get to see it all anyway. I mean, it was fun to watch them do trick plays in practice and know they were coming.
Yeah.
Because you saw them and you knew.
Or be disappointed you didn't get to see him because it was such a fun play and it was so cool. And then the game didn't call for it.
You may see it later on.
Yeah.
And now you don't. Now it's going to be a surprise because they don't let you in, and if they do let you in, it's sort of watered down and all that type of stuff. So, and I used to like the give and take. I like the way as the thing wore on that the players, the coaches would try to frustrate the players in that manner.
The quarterback was running and the play is blown dead and he's complaining like, no way.
And then the scrum or the, not fisticuffs, I don't know what I'm looking for.
But guys
tussling.
They start to fight, but it's more of a tussle and they're grabbing jerseys and they're hollering. And other guys come in to pull them apart, except other guys want a piece of them. And there's multiple whistles blowing. Knock it off, guys.
Right. And tempers. It gets hot and so forth.
And that's why in a couple of weeks we'll hear the cliche, we're tired of hitting each other. It's time to hit somebody else. But we won't hear that today. That one's still a couple
too
weeks
early,
off.
Way too early. We got at least a couple of weeks.
Pace yourself.
And then do they go to the movie? Do they raft the Provo River? What do they go to the water park? What do they do?
They went to the water park yesterday.
Yeah, but that hasn't started yet. When you come out to practice, okay, boys, we're gonna do the slip and slide. That was always a favorite of BYU's, and see the big uglies doing the slip and slide, and you get all fired up, and maybe a coach or two would do it. Those were good times.
All right, DJ and PK, BYU football practice starts today. We'll be down there. We'll be telling you all about it tomorrow. Coming up 8 o'clock, the coaches poll is out. We will get into that. 4 Big 12 teams ranked, including the 2 locals. That's all on the way. DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
3, 2, 1. This is Scotty G and Coach Tim LeCote.
For Utah, it's offense and maybe defensive line, but primarily the offensive line. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I got to dig a little deeper here. But honestly, the more I kept looking at it, the more I kept thinking it really comes down to those two position groups. Can Utah have offensive linemen that can step up?
You know, I think the big question mark outside of the offensive line for Utah nationally is Morgan Scalley.
Yeah.
But, nobody even talks about that around here because I think everybody has a real comfort factor with the way things looked in that bowl game, honestly. But the bottom line was they were sharp. They took advantage of opportunity more so than maybe a Whittingham team would. It felt like the guys were loose and ready to ball. That's like a sign. And then you hear all the stuff from the guys, how happy they are.
Catch Scotty G and Coach weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Mountain Land Supply on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
Join Scotty G and the Coach Friday, 10 to 2, RGS Exteriors, 4235 Farm Road in West Jordan. Preseason poll is out, and PK, there are 4 teams from the Big 12 in the top 25. We're going to get to that in the next segment. You were talking a year ago that this could be the year of the quarterback in the Big 12. And I'm looking at the rankings here, and it's just such a quarterback-driven sport. When I see the national rankings of the top 25 quarterbacks, what do I see? I see the Utes, I see the Cougars, I see Houston, I see Oklahoma State. When I see the rankings, I see 3 of those 4 teams. Do you think it's the year of quarterback in the league? How many of these people do you completely believe in or think you want to believe in, but you got to see a little more because it's a new face in a new place or, another year of experience, take a step forward, that kind of stuff? How much can you circle back to that take you had a year ago? It's the year of the quarterback in the Big 12.
Well, I think when we look at the year of the quarterback, we talk about NFL prospects too. And so I think you can look a little differently this year, how many NFL prospects are in there. It's like Noah Fafita, who I think is really good. The problem is he's 5'10".
Mm-hmm.
So, but that has no bearing on this season. So I think we look at that and see, who's a big shot to play in the NFL and go from there. This year, I think there's some very good quarterbacks that may not be NFL caliber, but it doesn't really matter.
They're good college quarterbacks.
Yeah.
The pros is a discussion.
I have serious doubts that Dan Beer can play quarterback in the NFL.
You go to the measurables, and he and Fafita aren't big enough.
But I saw a thing that listed fantasy. I guess you can play fantasy college. I'm not into the fantasy sports anymore. Used to be. Don't bother with it now. And in the country, Dan Beer was listed number 3. Which I get that because he can do a lot of different things. And so he can accumulate fantasy points in a lot of different ways, more so than others. But quarterback is a fickle, funny position. And who's good? Who's going to emerge? Dillingham has been able to develop quarterbacks for whatever reason. Does he have another one? So right now, whoever that may be is not getting the run. But when we get to November, maybe he's done it again. I don't think going into 2 years ago at this point, Sam Levitt was getting much run. Now he's listed in many places as a top 5 quarterback. And I know a lot of people in Tempe hope he fails miserably. I understand that. Because, he gets burned by that, and you take it personal, no doubt about it. So there will be some surprises. And even in this conference. But I think that's how you rate preseason rankings. It's what they have coming back and what has that done. And provided, and also now with the transfers. But even with the transfers, what have they done? So we all knew that Bailey at Texas Tech was going to be all that. Because he had a track record, and he did do all that, right? And then he goes high in the draft, right? No big surprise. So you can have some unknowns with the transfers, but I think the transfer thing now has become such a staple of programs that it isn't necessarily unknown. In fact, it's quite known When Mateer goes from Washington State to Oklahoma as the quarterback, and he brings his head coach with him, okay, or his quarterback coach, I should say. All right, that is something that we're expecting production immediately. It's not an unknown. So we're beyond that. And that's how you rank them. But there's going to be teams that don't have returning quarterbacks that are going to kick butt and be very good. But they don't deserve right now to be in the ranking position. So the way I look at preseason rankings is that because what have you earned in the prior season to earn that ranking? And it may or may not
translate.
Yeah.
Pay off.
Or it pays off, but not as much because you got somebody else here who does a lot better. That's the fun part of it. That's what I love so far about the Big 12. Is that we've had surprises, and it's not, well, we know we got to go through all this September, all this October, and then part of November, but we already know.
And Ohio State and Michigan will play at the end.
Yeah, we already know how it's going to end. We don't know how it's going to end, but we know which teams are going to be there. And in the Big 12, maybe Texas Tech, that they do then become that team that is everybody's shooting for, and it's going to be money-driven. But, hey, they're like the Dodgers. Tech is not doing anything that isn't allowable. That's why the Texas Tech people and the Dodgers, like we had Larry the Laker on a few weeks ago. Well, the Dodgers, they only took Freeman because the Braves made the decision to get Matt Olson. Instead of saying, yeah, we got tons of money and we spend it and we bought our team. What are you going to do about it? That's when you know they get defensive about it. Just say, yeah, we got Cody Campbell and Sellers, the two big boosters over here, and they pay these dudes millions. Isn't it great?
These are the best of times. I would love to be able to say that about my team. And actually, I was pretty close to saying it a few years ago. These are the best of times.
Yeah, but
the
that
Padres
was
were spending money.
Oh, okay. You're talking. I thought
I was talking. The Padres were spending money.
Well, I think they still are.
This is cool. They pared it back a little. I mean, they still have big payroll guys.
But why apologize for it? And we'll see if Tech dominates the next 2 to 3 years. Then they're likely going to continue to dominate. But so far, we've had surprises every year. And that's been fun to see, trying to figure it out. Anytime you get a surprise party, if you got a birthday party planned for you, okay, it's cool. But if it's a surprise party and you had no idea.
It was fun. I had one of those ones.
Yeah.
Hit a year with a 0 in it, and people pulled off a surprise.
I did that to my wife last year. Oh, I want no party. I want no party. She was stepping aside from working. I want no party up here. Okay. Well, we went to Arizona, and I did it there.
Different jurisdictions. So we're good.
Yeah, right.
Had no clue.
Sheriff can't cross state lines.
and we got it on film, too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we went and played golf, and it was at her friend Jill's, of course.
Oh, that's
and my daughter was there, and they set it all up. And so I knew going in, and Jill's husband and son, they had 2 lazy boys, and they're sitting there on a Saturday afternoon, which they would never do, about 4 or 5 o'clock, just watching sports, right? They deserved awards, academies, right? And everybody's in the other room, and she can't see it, but walks in, hey, how's golf?
And these aren't sit around and watch TV kind of people.
No.
They're up and Adam kind of people, right? They got a project, they're out golfing, they're doing whatever.
Oh, yeah. And they're both just sitting there, just kind of casual. Hey, how'd it go today? Yeah. Where'd you play? Yeah. No clue. And we're like 2 seconds away from yeah. And there was an old college roommate that she hadn't seen in years. I mean, years. And that week I had told her, hey, what about who did you room with when you're at ASU? Oh, it was K something or other. Yeah, when's the last time you see her? Oh, I went to visit her in Minnesota. That's where she was from one time. And I'm asking her all these questions as we're walking a dog, knowing that in 3 days she's going to see her. But she has no clue. Why the heck is this doofus asking me about somebody who I haven't seen for 30 years?
Whatever happened to so-and-so? Because I was on the phone with her a couple days ago.
And I had it set up. Okay, I'll be there.
Here's the
We're good to
time.
go.
Here's the address. Let's do it. Yeah.
So surprises, not negative, but they're usually good, and that's what the Big 12 provides. And as a fan, I find that fun.
And the surprises this year? Maybe Baylor? They got it together?
Well, I think in this conference you go from like teams 5 and below.
DJ Lagway gets it together.
Maybe Colorado pulls it together.
Drew Mestemaker is awesome.
Iowa
NFL's
State
drooling.
lost everybody.
But maybe they stole everybody from Wazoo and now they're good?
Yeah. We'll find out.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. All right, the Coaches Top 25 is out. 4 Big 12 teams, including the locals. We'll get to that next. Stay with us.
Overwhelmed? That was me with diabetes. Hey, I'm Jabron. Between teaching and coaching, managing diabetes felt like an extra job. With the Freestyle Libre 3 CGM, I get real-time glucose readings and have the insights to make informed decisions. My life feels lighter now. Learn more at freestylelibre.us.
The views expressed should not be used for medical diagnosis or treatment as a substitute for professional medical advice. Individual circumstances may vary. For prescription only. Safety info found at freestylelibre.us.